the Hagaddah is amazing. You know why? Because it gives everybody, at least once a year, a taste of Talmud. There are many Jews, especially those, let's say, women. A lot of women don't study Talmud. Jews know about Torah. There's a lot of Jews who are unaffiliated, unfortunately. There's a lot of kids. There's a lot of people just, maybe they were in yeshiva when they were younger, but they're not connected to Talmud anymore, so they never get to hear any Talmud. But the Hagaddah is basically a Talmudic work. And it has teachings from the Talmud in there that you're supposed to discuss, and even has Talmudic give and take in there. So at least once a year, everybody has to sit down and study Talmud together. That's the whole point of the Hagaddah, isn't it? To ask questions at the beginning. So that's why the Hagaddah, that's just one factor that makes the Hagaddah so wonderful. And the other thing is that you can mine it for all sorts of different Torah. I think anybody worth his salt has put out his own Hagaddah. One of my mentor back in the United States, he put out his Am HaNivchar, the chosen people Hagaddah. And most are, they use the classical old school Hagaddah that we used to use when we didn't have Korban Pesach. They use that as the base. But everybody who's anybody puts out his Hagaddah with his own thoughts and all that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and some of us don't do that. Some of us just decide to change the whole Hagaddah entirely, And then we're thinking about a second edition because the Nusach, as it was or as it is not good enough for some people, right? They keep messing with the Nusach. And like last week, we saw, there's all these new insights into the Hagaddah. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So one of the things that I saw in the Hagaddah is the idea of matzah, what it represents. And you know that there's two paragraphs in the Hagaddah that actually talk about what is matzah about. Rabbi Gamliel says, matzah zu shana ochlim. What's it about? What is matzah about? Come on, someone's been through Pesach before. What's matzah represent according to Rabbi Gamliel? It's at the very end of Magid. What? Rabbi Gamliel says you have to mention three things or you haven't fulfilled your obligation on Passover. The three things are Pesach, matzah, and more. Pesach al shuma. Pesach is what they used to eat in Egypt. When God passed over, so to speak, the houses of the Israelites and didn't kill them, instead killed the Egyptian firstborn. Okay, matzah, what we eat. What does that have to do?
Right?
Because the Israelites were in a rush to leave Egypt. And they didn't have time to bake to let the dough rise. So they baked it quickly. They grabbed the kneading troughs and just took the dough and they baked it quickly before it rose to proper bread. And that's why they had matzah. That's what they took with them, right? That's right. That's in the story of the Exodus. And then there's more. But if you look closely in the Torah, it's kind of strange. You know why? Because it does say that. It mentions the dough twice as they're leaving. It says they took the dough with them. And then it says that they baked it. That dough is over keeping track of it. But even earlier before the Exodus, what do we find? Quite a few days before the Exodus, apparently 14 days before the Exodus, the Israelites were told, by the way, go bake yourself some matzah to eat with the Korban Pesach. Al matzot umrorim yochiluhu. That is, they're told to get these lambs and slaughter them, sacrifice them, whatever. They couldn't really make it into a sacrifice. There is no altar. Whatever, prepare these lambs for sacred consumption and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. So they already had a supply of matzah on hand even before the Exodus. They had to bake this matzah beforehand in order to be ready for the meal. And then, incidentally, they suddenly had to make a lot more matzah. It sort of foreshadowed their eating this matzah, foreshadowed what was about to happen. So too, eating this thing called the Pesach foreshadowed that God would, that night, as they were eating the Pesach, pass over their houses, so to speak. And that's why the Hagaddah actually starts off with matzah as the beginning. How does the actual Magid start? Balach ma'anya. This is the bread of affliction that they used to eat. So there's two matzahs in the Bible. There's the matzah that they ate just because they had to eat with Korban Pesach, and then there's the matzah that they ate because they spontaneously had to make matzah. So too, the Hagaddah mentions two types of matzah. The matzah you start with that you break, it's lechem oni. This represents the poverty and the affliction of our ancestors in Egypt. But by the end, we get to Rabbi Gamliel's matzah. So you have two types there.
We would like to encourage our viewers to share these videos with friends and send in your responses. If you would like to obtain Birkon Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org.